Morning for those who are joining. We'll just give it a minute or so to just let people come through to the Teams meeting, and then we'll begin. Give it another minute, and then we'll begin on. Okay, I think we'll get underway. So good morning. I'm Stephen Kemp. I'm one of the Aruba Business Development Managers here at Westcoast. Thanks for joining us on today's webinar, which is an introduction into a HPE Networking Instant On portfolio. I'm glad to say we've got Ollie and Gareth from Aruba who will be presenting for us today and showing you the product in action. For the eagle-eyed people, you would have noticed I said HPE Networking Instant On. So we've recently done a bit of a rebrand from Aruba Instant On to HPE Networking Instant On. So I'll pass over to Ollie, who will go into a bit more detail about that as well. So over to you, Ollie.
Thanks so much, Kempy. Yeah, appreciate it. And good morning, everyone. I hope that you're doing well and you've had a good week. Enjoying the sun for once. So we've had a big change, but appreciate you guys being able to join the call today. My name's Ollie and I am the UK and I SMB BDM. So basically managing all things transactional business. And I'm joined today by Gareth Knight, who I'll let introduce himself.
Hi, morning all. Yeah, I'm Gareth. I'm Ollie's right-hand man when it comes to all things technical for Instant On. So once Ollie's done his little pitch, I'll be doing a quick demo just to show you all how easy it is to get a network up and running in the time it takes Ollie to run off and put the kettle on and make himself a cup of tea.
Yeah. If only I drink tea. Still got childish taste buds, so hot chocolate for me. But nonetheless, thanks very much, Gareth, for the introduction. So yeah, what I'll do is, guys, I will share my slides for you. I'll swap it into presenter mode. And let me whack up, share my screen. We've got Kempy and Stel in the background as well from the Westcoast team, as well as Medfield. So any questions that you've got, feel free to fire them in the chat and we'll be able to answer them as soon as possible. But yeah, lovely to be with you this morning. And I will share my screen and hopefully you can see my screen all okay. And as Kempy mentioned, the eagle-eyed ones of you will have noticed that we have done a rebranding. So previously, what was known as Aruba Instant On and was Aruba Instant On for 5 years has now become HPE Networking Instant On. And this was a change that happened on the 2nd of May. So pretty much brand new to the market. And so we just wanted to give you that introduction that the brand has changed. There are a couple of slides in here where you will still see Aruba Instant On the slide. We are still waiting for some of the new content to come through, but just to give you guys a heads up that we have moved towards this new brand name. And when it is all ready and the assets and collateral are coming through, you're going to have all the access to all of this wonderful content that's available. Nice bright colors. You can see there you've got banner ads, you'll have all the product information, images, so on and so forth. So it's in the process at the moment. The majority of these assets have been uploaded onto our portal, but there are still a few more coming through. So yeah, just to give you guys the insight that we have changed to HPE Networking Instant On. But what actually is HPE Networking Instant On? Well, 99% of the world's organizations are SMBs. And in the modern day, a network is an absolute necessity. You know, consumers are demanding a high performing, reliable, secure network and more for less, right? If you think in education, these primary schools, previously, all classes were held in person. Now, teachers might have to be running lessons for both in person and also children that are joining online if they're not feeling 100%. And so they need a high performing, reliable network. And yet in the modern day, for SMBs as standard, there are two major challenges that they face. Number one is limited in-house IT resources, right? These SMBs don't have highly skilled, qualified technical individuals that might have done, I don't know, computer science degrees that have experience in configuring these highly complex networks. But number two, budget. SMBs don't have the same large budgets as these enterprise organizations. When trying to afford the enterprise solution, are probably overspec for actually the use case in question, right? And they need a more cost-effective solution. And so Aruba, well, HPE Aruba Networking, a leader in networking, working on the likes of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the Ryder Cup, saw that there was a real opportunity to leverage that enterprise grade technology, but put it into a small business package where simplicity is the absolute backbone of everything. And so that's what led to the birth of HPE Networking Instant On, a simple, smart, secure, cloud managed networking solution for SMBs. And as I touched on, this has been running for over 5 years now, just done the rebranding, and it's really going from strength to strength. And we launched this with Westcoast back in February, so pleasure to bring it with you today. And I hope you enjoy the presentation. So, what is HPE Networking Instant On really all about? Well, I'll draw your attention to the desktop in the top left-hand corner of the slide there, and that is our Instant On portal. So all of the products within the portfolio, bar one, are cloud managed. So whether you be, I don't know, out and about, whatever it be, you can go and make those network configuration changes. And we also have a mobile application as well. So you don't have to have a laptop to log on to the portal. You can also go and make the changes on your phone app. So like I said, palm of your hand at home, on the move with work. On the beach, I normally go for hopefully you're not making those configuration changes on the beach, but if you have to do it, you've got the ability to go and do so. Single pane of glass. So whether you're logging into the portal or you have the mobile application, you have a common user experience. There's no difference between the two. You can't make more changes by logging into your laptop than by doing it on your phone, right? Support cases, you can do the full thing from which either setup you choose to use, right? So you really have that common user experience. Easy to use. Now, before I started this role, I had absolutely no networking experience 2.5, 3 years ago. And the first day they made me set up my own Instant On network, and I could do it within 3-4 minutes, right? I have no technical previous experience. Genuinely, anybody can set up your Instant On network. Your dad, your gran, whoever it may be, it can be up and running in the same time as making a cup of coffee or a cup of hot chocolate in my case, as I still have childish taste buds. So it really, really is that easy to have your network up and running. Anybody can do it within minutes, basically plug and play. Superb performance. I touched on the fact that HPE Aruba Networking are a leader in networking. So all of that research and development, all of the investment that is put into these enterprise products is installed into this SMB portfolio, to the extent that if you actually take one of our access points on the Instant On side and flip it over, you'll notice on the back it is actually one of the enterprise APs. So it's the same physical hardware, but what they've done is that they've just limited a few features and functionalities between the two devices in order to have a difference between the two portfolios. But you know that within this SMB space, you really have the highest performing technology, which is fantastic, right? And value and flexibility. So the simplicity with Instant On doesn't just stop with the technology itself, but also how you purchase it. So when you purchase Instant On, it's a one-time hardware purchase. There's no additional subscription fees, cloud controllers, license fees, well, any fee you can think of really. Ignore it, because the cloud portal comes completely free when you purchase the Instant On technology. So you know that as an SMB, you have hopefully a lower total cost of ownership overall, but no additional costs coming out of your organization. So far easier to manage. I think before I move on to show you a little bit about the portfolio itself, it's important to pick out some of the key differences between the Instant On portfolio and the enterprise side of things. So the main one to focus on is that with Instant On, you have up to a 50 networking device limit per site. So what that means is per site, you can have up to a combination, let's say, of 40 access points and 10 switches, 25 access points, 25 switches. However you want to configure your network, that's up to you, but you have up to that 50 networking device limit. So that's one of the real differences between the enterprise portfolio and also the SMB portfolio in Instant On. Additionally, I've touched on the portal there, which Gareth does a fantastic demo on and will do towards the end of this session. On the Instant On portal, you can currently manage up to 500 sites theoretically tested on the portal, right? So 500 sites on there, your 50 networking device limit, and those are really two of the major differences between the two portfolios. Gareth will touch on a few more of them later on, but just wanted to make you guys aware before we go into the portfolio on our next slide. So where have we come from? Initially, Instant On was just a series of Wi-Fi 5 access points, and these APs are still running with the portfolio today. However, we then introduced two Wi-Fi 6 access points. I'll draw your attention to the AP22 there. That actually won CRN's SMB Networking Product of the Year a couple of years ago. A really high performing product. You're probably looking at a price range for around the mid 80s, depending on what's being from distribution. And with the AP22, you're looking at around 75 devices per access point, right? So a really high performing product at a fantastic price, particularly good for sort of standard classrooms within your education environment. Later on came the AP25, simply a larger access point, greater capabilities, over 100 plus devices at a slightly more expensive price point. But that's where we were. And then in the past month, we have introduced 4 brand new access points to the portfolio. And you'll notice all of these new APs are importantly Wi-Fi 6 certified. So they've been through the Wi-Fi Alliance and got their certification. Recently, the AP21, to give you guys just differences at the highest level, there you're looking at around 50 devices, comes in at a cheaper price point as well on that side, 2x2 on the AP. The AP32 is our brand new Wi-Fi 6E access points, really looking at those more modern offices with the latest technology that can work on that channel on the AP32 itself. I love personally the AP22D. So this is one of our desk mounted access points, particularly good for hospitality use cases because it can act in both switching and access point mode as well. So whilst it is an AP, it also has 4 downlink 1 GBE ports, so you can also deliver those switching capabilities as well. 2 of the ports can also give you PoE. So if you choose to use just the 1 port, you get 30 watts of PoE, and if you use 2, 15 watts of class 6 PoE there. So fantastic device with many capabilities. And finally, the AP27. So to bring it all together, we do have an outdoor access point as well, and very good looking at use cases as sort of outdoor bar areas, school play fields, so on and so forth. It is really ruggedized outdoor AP, so I think it can get down to minus 40 degrees Celsius and plus 65 degrees Celsius. So I think in the UK, we've got more chance of hitting minus 40. But overall, those are really extreme temperatures, but it's really designed to survive all weather, all conditions, and not go down on you, no matter what the elements throw at you. Let's put it that way. So yeah, really, as you move from left to right, your features and functionality increases, but so do your price points as well. Really coming up against the likes from a competitor perspective of Ubiquiti, TP-Link, and also a bit of Netgear as well. But all of the access points themselves can perform smart mesh capabilities, ARM capabilities, client matching capabilities as well, all automatically installed and configured within these access points on deployment. So some really good points just to touch on there. And that is currently the wireless portfolio in its glory. A heavy text slide here. I know, don't focus on the bottom 2 lines below. Just wanted to keep your attention on the top line and really sort of touching on what we spoke on in terms of use cases. So at the very low end, you're looking at your small office spaces, building up. So as let's say the demand on your network increases, and the size of it, so does your AP capabilities as well. So up to those AP25s, really looking at dining rooms, gaming facilities, boutique hotels, sort of the highest level, and then, as we touched on, your AP22D, looking at those more hospitality, or in this case for schools, boarding rooms, and AP27 outdoor areas. So we'll send these slides out afterwards, so you can go into the detail if you really want, but just to touch on the highest level of use cases there. But obviously, we don't just deal in access points ourselves, we also deal in switching. So I touched on right at the start of the presentation that there was one product series that was not included in your cloud portal, and that is your 1430 series. So really just plug and play, won't be included in your 50 networking device limit as well. Models all the way from 5 gig to the very 48 gig range, right? So you've got those, sorry, 24 gig range. So you've got those capabilities on the products there. And then as you move onto your managed switches, as you go from left to right, your features and functionality increase, but so does your price point as well. To touch on the sort of the key differences between each switch family here, on your 1830 series, you have partial PoE, so half the ports giving you that PoE capability. As you go on to your 1930 series, that's when you get your full PoE capabilities with the device. And at the top end on your 1960, there you're really getting into your highest performing switch. So you're looking at stacking capabilities, class 6 PoE, an aggregator in there, multi-gig switch. You've got all of that within your 1960 portfolio there. All go up to your 48 gig range from the 1830 up to the 1960. So hopefully you should have a switch ready for the use case that you have in question. The likes of the competition again here, very similar, your Netgears, your TP-Links, that sort of region within this portfolio. So yeah, again, text heavy slide. This time I'll draw your attention to the bottom of it rather than the top 4 lines. But again, it touches on what we were focusing on, those smaller offices on your 1430 plug and play, all the way up to the highest demand on your network, high-tech startup facilities, boutique hotels, larger primary schools, so on and so forth. But one of the biggest differentiators with the HPE Networking Instant On portfolio are the warranty and support options that we have available. So I'll draw your attention to the access points where we have a 2-year standard warranty and the conditions that are aligned with that. The 24/7 telephone support on standard warranty you do get for 90 days. However, I was doing an ASOS return the other day where I was completely over date. I was trying to return something that was 6 months overdue. I know, very poor for me. And I was trying for the life of me to reach out to someone to see if I could wangle a voucher or something. But it was all just forums, all online, and it was doing my head in. So if you want to upgrade, to make sure that you're talking to someone, which is something that I would have really valued during that time, then you can do that with our foundation care packs of either 3 or 5 years that are available. And you can see that all of the conditions will be available to you for the remainder of that 3 or 5 year period. On your switches, your limited lifetime warranty is even better. So you get it for 5 years after end of sale. But again, the same as the access points, if you want to upgrade that level of service for the whole period, so let's say 3 or 5 years, you've got that with the foundation care options available. Now, the support line itself, we like to say that this is the best tech support you'll never need to use, but in case you do need to use it, the support line, which you call on the SMB side, is the same as the enterprise side. So it's not like because you're an SMB, lower use case, let's say, that you're not still getting that same high level of support. You will get access to that, right? That's all available for you. So the support is something that really differs us within the market. If you take a look at the likes of Ubiquiti, it's just really all online forums, no support to go to. It drives partners and customers absolutely mad. So with HPE Networking Instant On, support is something we really value and we hope will benefit you if you need to use it. Hopefully you won't, but if you need to, it's there. So what's the brand promise all about? Really a summary of what we just spoke around. Simplicity. I've mentioned that probably 5-6 times. It's the backbone of your Instant On network to set up really quickly and manage as well. Built-in security, so all of the products have the latest security standards. They are WPA3 authenticated, so you know you also have the most secure technology on your SMB use case. Extraordinary performance. We touched on HPE Aruba Networking, a leader in networking. All of the investment, all of the research and development is in these products. No hidden fees, that one-time hardware purchase, no license fees, subscription fees. So it's that one-time hardware cost. And we are a trusted vendor. You know, HPE Aruba Networking have been around for, I think, just over 22 years. HPE themselves, I think, over 70, right? So great credibility, great structure as an organization. So you know we're not going to go down on you, and we can give you that highest level of support as well, which we just touched on in the previous slide. Obviously, I work for the company, so it's very easy just to sit here and bang on about how great it all is. But we do have some really cool customer wins as well that do support the method to my madness. So CVS, for those who aren't familiar, CVS basically run veterinary practices and deliver the services to them as well. So for example, if you think of your local vet practice, they'll go in, buy the practice, install all of the latest equipment, make sure that your staff members are trained up to the highest level to ensure that they deliver the best service to you as a customer. Now, CVS were initially looking at supporting 500 plus sites across 3 different countries using the enterprise portfolio. However, they were very budget conscious, and the enterprise solution at that section wasn't looking to fit their budget, and they were looking for a more cost-effective solution, particularly as the majority of their 500 sites that they were looking at are these small veterinary practices where the enterprise solution was over spec perhaps for the use case in question. And so instead of walking away, we proposed the HPE Networking Instant On solution, and they've absolutely loved it and installed it across their 500 sites across the 3 different countries. So whilst we do talk about SMB, sometimes the mind can narrow and really just look at a small cafe. But if you look to those sort of larger scale opportunities, there really is some great value with the portfolio available, right? Pizza Hut, I've been spending a bit too much time in there, which has not been great for the summer body. But another use case we did very similar, really looking at their delivery stores where there's 1 or 2 individuals in there taking orders and then sending out the orders as well. So Instant On sat perfectly for that use case. And then there's a few others in there as well, covering education, home networks, so on and so forth. So plenty of use cases that we can touch on with the Instant On portfolio. But how do you actually purchase your Instant On equipment? Well, we've always touched about simplicity with this brand, and that falls through with how you purchase your technology from Westcoast as well. So we have what's called our SmartBook OPG. So here you can buy as many units of a Instant On as you want, and you have a fixed price. There's no need for deal reg, waiting for quotes to come back, so on and so forth. You raise your quote, you get a price instantaneously back with your Instant On portfolio. However, say you're taking a stocking order, or say you're doing larger deals, then you have the SMB offers OPG available, where if you purchase in bundles of 5 or 20, dependent on the product in question, you will receive an additional 5% discount on top of that SmartBook OPG price, right? And with HPE Networking Instant On, you don't have to report who your end customer is, right? So you can very freely purchase these bundles and split them up into opportunities that you choose to serve at your will, right? But it's meant to be that simplicity, that element all coming through. The final thing I want to touch on, then I promise I will stop talking, is our HPE Networking Instant On Action Partner Club. So the organization really wanted to help our partners work with the Instant On support, with the Instant On portfolio, and support them and help them be profitable working with Instant On. And so what they started to do was put this action club together, where basically you have everything you need to sell the portfolio. So whether it be training, quizzes, all the marketing content, the collateral. One thing that coolly that we've recently introduced is a Aruba Tech Advisor. So you have your very own tech advisor there that if you have any questions, From a technical perspective, with your Instant On portfolio, you can go and raise them on the portal now, and you'll have a individual get back to you as soon as possible. So you've got everything that you need on there on the partner club, and it's completely free to sign up to. There's no strings attached, no credit card details, nothing. You can sign up today and never use it again. No charge. It's there completely free for you to use. Whilst that's all brilliant, the main thing that gets our partners ears ringing are the rebates that are available. So if you are a standard Action Club member, so you've just started, let's say, working with the HPE Networking Instant On portfolio, then for whatever quantity of Instant On you sell, you can get a 4% cashback automatically back into your business. So throughout the quarter, our quarters, for every bit of HPE Networking Instant On you sell, those rebates will build up, build up, build up. And then at the end of the quarter, you'll have a total by which in the next month of the next quarter, you can go in and manually click claim rebates, and you will get that money back into your organization. So cashback working with the Instant On portfolio completely free if you sign up to the Action Partner Club. However, let's say you're trading a lot with Instant On, you're doing a lot of opportunities, and you're selling more than 15K a quarter, then you have what's called our Action Premier Partner Club. So you're basically an Action Premier member. And what you can see here is that as your volumes of Instant On sales increase, so do your rebates as well. So if you're doing a minimum of 15K a quarter, you get a 5% rebate. And if you're doing a minimum of 100K a quarter, an 8% rebate. So what it looks like overall, your sales journey, 4% to start off, all the way. If you're then doing those greater volumes, we can get you as an Action Premier member, by which you can then get those higher rebates. Quick thing to touch on, if you are an Action Premier member and you don't hit the 15K mark, you don't get the 4% up to the 15K. So you have to hit the 15K. And also, if you miss the 15K as an Action Premier partner, you aren't kicked off, you aren't thrown away from the program, and you will remain on there. You just obviously won't receive the rebates. And as an Action Premier partner, as an additional bonus, there's no manual claiming of your rebates. They are automatically paid back into your organization at the end of the quarter. That's everything from me. Apologies for rambling on, but I will hand you over to the wonderful Gareth Knight, who will do a demo for you guys with his dual screen setup. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Ollie. Let me just share my screen. Let me know when you can see.
We can see.
Excellent. Bear with me 1 second. Excellent. Right. So I'm not going to send Ollie off just yet to go and make his hot chocolate. I'm just going to give you a quick run through of basically how you would set up Instant On from the very beginning. So basically you go to the Instant On portal page, click on create an account, pop your email address in, correct the password, sign your life away for us email blasting you, agree to the terms, and create an account. Simple as that. Okay, so the focus on this really is all about the simplicity of the platform. Okay, so in true Blue Peter fashion, what I'm going to do, I've already got one site set up at a friend's house, so it gives me the ability to show you what it looks like with a site that's actually in use. And then I'm going to do the kettle challenge with Ollie. I'll get a site set up before he can get back and start drinking his hot chocolate. So this is what we would refer to as a site. So this is a platform that would support up to 50 devices for this site. As Ollie said, you can have up to around 500 sites within a single instance of an Instant On portal. So one login, you could have 500 separate sites. I'm going to create another one, and you'll see how that workflow works. But what you see, and it's exactly the same on the app as well, which I'll show you shortly. You can see which networks you've got created. So we've got a couple of Wi-Fi networks. I think I created a test one recently, so they're probably wondering why that's showing up. We can add a network very simply. We can choose whether that's wired or wireless. We can choose whether it's employee or guest. So a guest network would just have some limitations on only being able to have internet access, for instance, but you can specify other devices like a printer, perhaps, on the network that those guests can see. You give it a name. You choose the level of security you require. So it can be just a standard pre-shared key, or we can do radius-based .1x authentication here. Okay, so again, all very simple. What we try and do is hide as much of the complexity away as possible to keep that simplicity going. So we can, again, on the options, we can show the network, we can do some optimizations, bandwidth limitations. We can, in terms of IP assignment, if there's a DHCP server on the network, we can bridge that traffic and get our DHCP from the broadband router or whatever's on site. If we've got other networks, we can drop them into those. Or if it's a guest network, we can NAT them. So the access point will provide that guest device with an IP address and NAT them into the network and keep them isolated. In terms of radios, we can specify whether it's on both bands. And in the case of the AP32, there'd be a 6 gigahertz tick box there as well. And we can extend that 2.4 gig range. We can make some changes here in terms of power levels, but again, we try and keep things, keep everything automatic. In terms of scheduling, so we can set a schedule for when this is this SSID or this network is available. So we can set that, for a specific time, maybe in a a cafe or something. You want it to stop at 5:30, but you don't want people jumping on, sitting outside. Network access. So this was set up, or initially set up as an employee network, so we don't put any restrictions. If it was a guest network or it's one that we do want to implement some restrictions on, then selecting this option will only allow internet access or any other IP addresses up to 15 that you choose. So, like I said, that could be a printer, could be a file server on the network, whatever you want to choose. In terms of network assignment, we can choose which devices this SSID is going to be on, and applications as well. Now, because I'm creating a new network, obviously there's nothing in here yet, but what we do have, which allows me to segue quite nicely, is application visibility. Okay, so we get a 24-hour overview of what's been active on the network. Okay, so this is a live network. Hopefully they haven't been doing anything dodgy, but what you'll see here is, a good bit of information about which devices have been accessing this particular application when they're used, but we can also block that now. So obviously everything's ticked here. I'm not going to stop them watching, I don't know, probably Netflix or YouTube video, but we can select whether these applications are actually permitted on the network or not, just with a simple tick box. Okay, and that's per network as well. Okay, but one of the main differences between the enterprise grade is that we can only do this based on categories. We can't do it based on a specific application. So streaming, we can't differentiate between Netflix and Amazon Prime, for instance. Social network, we can't say, WhatsApp's allowed, but Facebook isn't. We don't have that level of granularity as we do in the enterprise stuff. Okay, so that's the networks. Those are the applications that are visible on those networks. We can see which clients are connected. So it's all, we've got some Amazon Echo Dots here, probably all connected. We can see which applications they've been using the most. And again, it's all about that visibility. We can go in and block these clients. I'm not going to do that, but if there were any, we can go in here, we can unblock them if we needed to. So if we see any devices that we don't like the vacuum cleaner, we can stop that working quite easily just by blocking them. And then they'll have a very dusty house. And then, oops, excuse me. If I go back here, close that one. And then we can see the inventory of the devices that we have. Okay, so we've got one switch, and we can go in here and we can set a few, we can turn on routing, we can allow jumbo frames, we can set a static IP address, we can assign VLANs to ports. We can also do, in terms of switching, we can also do port-based or client-based authentication. So we can go through Radius again, so we can set up that Radius server there. We can specify which network they're going to go into, whether we want to allow specific devices. And some of this stuff actually is pretty new. I haven't seen this one before. Because it's a cloud-based platform, we're always adding new features. And I believe, Ollie, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a kind of a reskin of this coming fairly soon, isn't there? It's going to look...
There should be an update on the portal in July, it looks
July.
like. Yeah,
July.
Coming through.
So if we do another one of these and you join, you'll get to see, exactly the same features, but in a newer, shinier format. Okay. So again, it's all about the simplicity. What I'm going to do now is, as if by magic, where is it? There we go. This is obviously the web portal. This is the app on my phone. Okay, so I'm going to quickly walk through. Ollie, time to put the kettle on, mate.
Okay,
I'm going to set up a new site. Now I'm going to do it on my phone because if you, the only difference between the application and the portal is if you're creating a new site, you need to know what the serial numbers are of the devices. Whereas with the app, what we can do is we can scan those. So if you're physically on site, it's easier to use the app because you can just scan either the luggage tag or the sticker on the front of the access points to add your devices. Okay, so it's very wizard based, and this, you know, going back to Wally's point about, you know, your nan or your dad could set this up. It is very, very simple. So, you know, which devices are we going to add? I'm just going to choose a switch. I've got a couple of access points, but this will show you some of the magic. So make sure it's on and connected to the internet. Plug a cable in, make sure the light is flashing orange, which it is. I've already booted these up, by the way, just to beat Ollie. And then I can go and find my devices. Now, if I was using the portal, I'd need to put the serial number in. A little bit tedious, but we do have this nice facility here. So here's my APs all ready and waiting, and switch just there. I'm going to take the luggage tag, put this down here. There we go. And you can see it's picked up not just the switch, but the other devices that are connected to this network. So I can add these devices. Now I can create a network, which we'll see pop up as soon as I've done this. So let's stay on brand. We'll give it a simple password. There we go. We're based in the UK. That's going to be the name of the site, and that's done. Okay. So now I'm in my new site. Now, if I go here, he says, hopefully. Let me sign out quickly, actually. No, sorry, wrong bit. If I sign out of the portal, sign back in, you'll see now I've got two sites in here. And we can see the devices. They'll just be synchronizing now. So what they're doing is just checking for any software updates, any settings I've put in. So once they're synchronized, those networks will appear in this, that network will appear in my network list. And it really, really is that simple. And I bet, Ollie, you haven't managed to make your hot chocolate yet, have you?
Really, sadly, the kettle's actually broken.
Oh no!
So, yeah,
not Wi-Fi, is it?
No game today, unfortunately. But yeah, rapid. You wouldn't beat me anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, that's really as much as I can show in terms of the simplicity, how to set up a network. So if you imagine maybe in a cafe or a bar where they need to set up, you know, one or two networks, one for the POS machines, another for guests. That's it. It's that simple. Actually, speaking of you know, coffee shops and, you know, bars, that sort of thing, there is an inbuilt portal as well. So you can design your own, or you can link to an external provider if you've got a contract with them, and use something external. So you do have that ability to sort of customize your captive portal very easily and provide that more personalized experience for your customers. Okay, so let's just check our online devices. So just what I'm doing, I'm just waiting for this one to synchronize. I'm going to try something brave while we potentially take any questions. Ollie mentioned the smart mesh capability. So what I'm going to do is actually disconnect this access point once it's synchronized and just plug it into the mains, and hopefully by the end of the session that will have rebooted and it will automatically and wirelessly connect back into this site, because it has no Ethernet connection. But I won't be doing any configuration. So we see this uplink here. We're connected to the local network. Once I reboot it, then that should change to a mesh uplink. Okay. Does anybody have any questions or anything they'd like to see regarding actually managing an instant on site? Are people able to unmute themselves, Kempy?
Hi, Gareth. We've got a few questions actually in the chat. So one was how many users accounts can access the same sites.
Ah, okay. So we can go into site administration, and we can add another registered user. I'm not sure what the limit is. Do we know what the limit is on the number of
The
users?
limit currently is 3
Right.
per site, but that might be improving at some point.
Okay.
Cool. And then I think one of the others was around smart mesh, but I think you answered that in your demonstration. So we're all good on that
hopefully.
front.
Let's just, right. So this one's active now. So if we can think of something else to talk about while I just disconnect that access point, you should see an alert come up on my phone actually saying everything's no longer okay because the AP's gone down. And obviously you can specify an email address for alerts to go to. If you're looking at the app, you'll see the alerts come up in there as well. Oops, no, I don't want to go in there. Oh, so this is the process for, just while we're waiting for that to realise it's gone down. This is how you would set up a site in the portal. So it's the same content. You go through the same process. It tells you all the nice stuff, but you only have the option to add a serial number, sadly. So I guess the assumption is that you don't have an easily accessible camera that you can point on your laptop to a luggage tag or the serial number on the boxes themselves. Were there any other questions in the Q&A?
We had one, but which
there was another question from Phil actually, reference VLANs. Mentions that they're having an issue around connecting VLANs, assigning them to the device management LAN. Is that a facility that's going to be introduced? We can add VLANs, right?
Yeah, of course. Yes, if I let's have a look. Sorry, bear with me a sec. If I go into networks and add one here, so if I create a wired network, and we'll call it test for now, and give that, I don't know, 110. Okay, and I can do a few settings in here. We can do the network access piece here as well, and then I can go into this switch and see it's tagging all of the ports on that switch for this network. So if I then created another wireless network and wanted to use that VLAN, then I just assign it. So if I go in here and add, oh, sorry, just to prove it's working, there's my HPE in on SSID. So if I create a wireless network, what should we call it? Let's just go, we'll call it test. Okay, and we'll just drop in a standard password. Okay, we've got our, let's not worry about that. Network assignment, where is it? Sorry. Here, sorry. IP and network assignment. So if I do that, then that wireless network would be assigned to that VLAN, and it would be tagged to the switch. Does that answer the question?
I think Phil's added actually. So he says my question is not about adding VLANs, but setting the management LAN to a VLAN.
We don't really have a management LAN as such. It's always going to be, when you first turn them on, they're obviously in their default state, they're all going to be in VLAN 1. Okay, so if you then, I think I understand the question, because it's a cloud-based option. In our enterprise hardware, yes, we do have the option to change the native management VLAN. But I think the way Instant On works, we don't really have that facility, because they're cloud managed, they're always going to boot up into VLAN 1 and then get their config. So that would bring us an interruption there. Did that answer the question? I think it's a no, sadly. I don't know if you so that access point now has powered up, and it's actually, so this is doing the smart mesh piece. I didn't do anything. All I did was disconnect it and reconnect it with a power supply, and it's automatically reconnected. So as long as it's in range of another Instant On AP on the site, then it's automatically going. If it loses its LAN connection but still has power, then it's automatically going to connect. So the easiest way to make that work is to get all your access points, get them all onto the site first as a wired connection, and then move your access points where they want to be. That's the easiest way to do it. It takes far less time than waiting for the access points to sort themselves out. But that's done now because I've got Wi-Fi lights on both of my access points. So yeah, you can see that's changed now, and that's the uplink. So it's going to the other access point. Okay, so I've got my AP11 there, and it's my AP11D that I disconnected from the LAN, powered up from the mains, and it's mesh networked now. Any other questions in the Q&A?
Yeah, we've had one from Mark. Does the smart mesh use one of the radios for mesh traffic?
Yes.
Yeah.
So where are we saying? I'm not sure we can actually see, but it still serves clients. Was the question, is it dedicated to that link, or can it serve clients as well? Was that the question?
So does the smart mesh use one of the radios for mesh traffic, and is it 5 gigahertz?
That's a really good question. I can't remember, but I think it is the 5 gig radio, but it still serves clients as well.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go. This device, so it is 5 gig radio, and it's automatically applied settings on this. So we can't change any settings on this now that it's connected over the air. The 2.4 gigahertz radio, we can change things like our transmit power, etc., etc. Anything else in the Q&A?
We've got everything covered. If anyone's got any more questions, please feel free to fire them in. And if not, we can probably wrap up.
Yeah. Stop sharing.
Give it 30 seconds to see if we've got any more coming through. Oh, I think that's our lot. If you do have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or my colleague Stelios. I'm more than happy to help and go into a bit more detail if need be. We can supply you with price list on the Aruba Instant, the HPE Networking Instant On range. I'll correct myself there. So, please feel free to reach out. Hopefully the webinar has been really insightful for you. Thanks, Ollie and Gareth, for presenting for us today. And
No problem.
and thank you all for joining. I hope it's been worthwhile for you.
Thanks, Honest Kempy. Thanks everyone for joining. Have a great weekend.
Yeah. Thanks everybody.
Cheers all.